The Buffalo Bills have made a couple coaching hirings in the last week or so that point to a major shift taking place in their philosophy on defense. In this video, we're going to talk about what that shift might be and what the Bills need to do to make sure that it's successful. What's up, everybody? It is Jon Helmkamp with A to Z Buffalo. So the Super Bowl is behind us, and now it is just full steam ahead into the offseason. The scouting combine is in about 2.5 weeks, and then it's on to the NFL draft and into free agency and all kinds of things where the Bills roster will really begin to take shape, and we'll see what it's going to look like heading into a new season. A couple coaching changes were made, a couple hirings really by the Buffalo Bills, where they brought in 2 assistants on defense that point to the Buffalo defense potentially changing its philosophy heading into a new season. They hired Ryan Nielsen, who was a former defensive coordinator of the Jacksonville Jaguars, and before that, the Atlanta Falcons. And before that, he served as a defensive line coach for the New Orleans Saints. And they also brought in Mike Pellegrino, the former DB coach, cornerbacks coach of the New England Patriots. Both of these coaches have a strong history of working with corners that do a great job in man coverage and especially in press man. The Jacksonville Jaguars, the Atlanta Falcons, both of those teams ran a very high percentage of man defense, which would be a pretty big contrast from what we've seen out of Sean McDermott's defenses in Buffalo in recent years. What we did see from the Bills was that in the playoffs, especially against Baltimore and going against Kansas City, the Bills really made a philosophical change where they deployed way more man coverage than we had seen throughout the regular season, also having to bring more pressure with blitzes and things of that nature in order to generate pressure since the defensive front wasn't creating it on their own. But that man coverage on the back end really speaks to the Buffalo Bills wanting to take away the quick hitting passes underneath of some of their opponents. Maybe this is them realizing that that was a weakness, an area that opposing quarterbacks were able to exploit. Like Patrick Mahomes in particular was so good this last season at getting the ball out quickly that maybe this is them wanting to account for that and being able to play more man to make sure that those windows aren't just wide open throws and layups for opposing quarterbacks. If they're going to make this shift to a more man style of defense, though, the personnel on the back end is going to have to change. We saw that Christian Benford took a massive step this year, emerging into one of the best corners in the league, and he's more than capable of hanging in there in man coverage as well. Outside of that, though, when he went down injured and Kaiir Elam was forced into play against the Chiefs, he did not look the part. That was what he was drafted to be, as a press man corner. And going into the game in man coverage situations, he looked completely lost and like they were being able to take advantage of him on the outside. So that, to me, is not a solution. Kaiir Elam's trajectory on the Bills is not a good one. So outside of Christian Benford, Rasul Douglas may have already played his last game with the Bills. We'll see what happens in free agency, meaning that Buffalo needs to beef up this secondary with at least a couple more names, a couple more players that are able to come in and man up opposing wide receivers. So that could be a strong emphasis in free agency and also heading into the NFL draft, where the Bills look to address more players in the cornerback room. Let me know what you guys think about this potential shift in the Buffalo Bills defensive philosophy in the comments down below, and I'll catch you guys next time.